Saints and Collingwood. Let's get into an AFL 2 roundup. What I liked about it is Nasiah Wanganeen-Miller is a serious player. His dash off halfback is phenomenal. Even Ross Lyon said in the post-game conference that he's a serious player. And if you don't have him in your AFL fantasy, I would highly recommend that you do. He's an absolute keeper. The other bloke I want to mention is Mitch Owens. His utility around the ground. You can put him in any position, that guy, and he'll try his absolute heart out. He's an absolute gem, and yeah, I think Ross Lyon definitely is happy to have him in his team. Another one's Liam Henry, came from Dockers, but he's a fan favourite at St Kilda at the moment with his forward pressure and just basically his perseverance. Unfortunately, he did have a bit of a minor hamstring injury after this game, so we're not really sure how long he'll be out for, which is the unfortunate thing. What I didn't like about this game was Collingwood's ball movement, and you can really see that from their unforced errors that they made, just really uncharacteristic. But I think what the matter of it all is that they were an aged list. They're very slow when they move the ball, and that's a real concern for Fly Craig McRae. I honestly think that they've got some massive decisions coming up at the end of this season and their off season to go, who are we keeping, who are we moving on, because there's a lot of players in the 30s at Collingwood, and that's something that, moving forward, do they really want to take on, or do they want to offload now to sort of hamper the burden onto somebody else, another club? But yeah, it's getting to that point where they're just too predictable now, and they're really staring down the barrel of a 0-4 start with Brisbane Lions at the Gabba. So we'll see what happens there. But what do you guys think? Comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Next game, Adelaide and Geelong. Wow, what did I like about this one? Round 2 roundup, let's get into it. What I liked was the Cats' poise, and I like their defensive pressure. You know, the Cats, they've got one of, I think it was the 4th oldest AFL list, but you wouldn't really know it the way they move the ball with such swiftness and sort of preciseness. It's just absolutely amazing. Very clinical performance against Adelaide. What I didn't like was that Adelaide's skill level, really sloppy. They've missed a lot of sort of easy goals going forward. There was also a pitch invader, which I think was Ben Keys basically shirt-fronted him. Again, it's just another little thing that Adelaide sort of fixate on. But at the end of the day, I think, was it Stevens, the coach? Stephen Nicks, he mentioned it, and I was like, mate, you guys got pumped. Well, not pumped, but like, it wasn't a great performance, and you're focusing on a pitch invader. So I think that's the whole pitch invader thing is detracting from the fact that Adelaide are staring down the barrel of a 0-5 start because they've got a tough run home at the moment. The other thing I didn't like was that, well, I don't actually think will happen, I should say, is that Adelaide, I don't think will play finals this year. And I think they'll miss it. That's my 2 cents. But yeah, they're staring down the barrel of a 0-5 start at this rate. They've got Dockers, Melbourne and Carlton to round out their round 5, and I just don't think they'll win those games. So 0-5 is an absolute reality, and I don't think the Crom will be playing finals this year, full stop. What do you guys think? Comment down below. I'll see you in the next one. North Melbourne versus Fremantle. Welcome back to the Play On Footy channel. We're rounding up round 2, and let's get into it. What I liked about this game was the Luke Jackson presence in the middle. I mean, he was something special. He's just a joy to watch. I think if you look back at when they first got him, you know, he's sort of evolved now with sort of how Justin Longmuir wants to play him, and he's always been that mobile sort of mid sort of ruck to, you know, half forward flanker sort of player that can really impose himself, and he's an absolute star for Dockers and an absolute, you know, gun sort of trade for them, you know. So happy days. I'm really happy. And same token with Nat Fyfe. I mean, Fyfe really worked hard in the middle. I think he got a goal as well, which is really great to see. And, you know, his work rate in and around the ball was just fantastic. So that was great to see for the Dockers. The other thing I liked was the switch kicks and the sort of the less predictable nature that the Dockers moved the ball. The first quarter was pretty sloppy and predictable from the Dockers, but from the second quarter to the fourth quarter was a lot better, and they finally got control. I think after the half time, they kicked, or after third quarter, I think they kicked like 5 goals on the trot or 9 goals on the trot, which was fantastic. So they really regained control in that aspect. Another thing with Luke Jackson was their clearance work was fantastic. His rucking sort of craft work is fantastic. Sarong ate it up. He got 35 disposals, which you know, doesn't surprise me at all. What I didn't like was that North had like a fade out. They just, after first quarter, they just faded. Yeah, they just faded out. And so, yeah, in the second half. So The other thing I didn't like was Freo's lackluster first quarter. That was another thing I didn't like. But all in all, I think it's a great win by Fremantle, but also just another reason and another sort of, I guess, unfortunate lesson that North Melbourne's Alistair Clarkson has to reinstill in the young group, that, we can't let them get on top of us. We played a great first quarter and they just ran us out towards the end. But it's going to be an interesting game, this coming up, North Melbourne versus Carlton Blues. Comment below what you guys thought about the game. I'll see you in the next one. Today we are looking at the Hawks versus Melbourne round 2 roundup. Let's get into it. What I liked about the game, really nothing. Most irrelevant game of the weekend, to be honest. I guess the positive, or the thing that really caught my attention, was Bailey Fritsch's 5 goals for Melbourne. He's an absolute sharpshooter. So yeah, that's probably a positive that I liked about the game. What I didn't like about the game was Hawks really had no game plan. There was no switch kicks or movement through the corridor. It was pretty basic ball movement, really slow and predictable as well, which I know Sam Mitchell in the post-game conference was not obviously too happy about. The other thing I wasn't too happy about was Jai Newcomb. He's one of the leaders at Hawks and one of the new budding stars, next generational talent, so to speak. He only got 17 disposals. Now, I have been noticing a trend with his games where he is being tagged a fair bit, so I guess that could be coming down to that. The other thing was another Hawks player, Jack Gunston. He didn't do anything. I think he got like 7 disposals. Didn't even kick a goal, didn't kick a behind. I know he's sort of coming off an injury from the Brisbane sort of 2023 campaign, but still, it's pretty evident he's sort of past it now. What do you guys think? Comment below. Round 2 roundup, Sydney versus Melbourne. This was another game where it was very, I guess, I don't want to say controversial, but it was pretty fiery, let's put it that way. What I liked about it was that Papley's presence up forward, Tom Papley, he did really well. I think he kicked 4 goals, 2 behinds, if I'm not wrong in that. But yeah, that was a really great stand-up performance. And another one was Heaney. Around the ground, his work rate was pretty immense and pretty spectacular. I would not be surprised if he is leading the Brownlow, the most prestigious award in footy. Obviously behind a premiership. Everyone wants to win a premiership. The next one's Chad Warner. His dashing brilliance off half-back and through the middle was pretty outstanding as well. So the Swans, Swans and GWS at this stage are the top 2 teams. Let's be honest. On the ladder, they speak for themselves. The other thing I liked from the game was that the Bombers fight was pretty real. And I think under Brad Scott, you can really see his leaving his coaching identity and DNA throughout the team and throughout the players, and really setting expectations pretty high. And I guess that's going to lead us on to what I didn't like about it. Peter Wright's attempt. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand why he shielded himself to protect himself, and he's going hard at the footy. But what I didn't like in the result of that attempt was that everyone was booing, and it's like, well, it's a game of footy. You know what I mean? Like, you're going for the ball. He's like 2 meters. He's charging at the ball with like pretty extreme pace. He's coming up he's trying to get a chest mark, and of course he's going to shield his body. So that's what I didn't really like about it. I thought the attempt was pretty fair, to be honest. I mean, there's different angles now at the footy, but I thought it was okay. I'd be surprised. I reckon it'll get 2 weeks, if that. So yeah, we'll put an end to that. Papley's comments after the game saying that, the Bombers are sort of pretenders, which, is a bit of tongue-in-cheek there, I suppose. But yeah, I don't agree. They genuinely did bring the heat. I understand you got to back it up for 4 quarters, which they didn't do. But, they're still developing. They had a couple of shifts. They had Sam Draper come back from an injury as well. So they've got a couple of ironing out sort of things to do there. But, it's just tongue-in-cheek. I wouldn't get too caught up from it if you're a Bombers supporter. At the end of the day, the Bombers played probably one of the best teams in the AFL currently. So I wouldn't be too disheartened at this stage. And Bombers' defensive pressure could improve. Yeah, down back, I sort of mentioned, or I sort of saw, I should say, Dyson Heppel sort of drop a couple of easy ones or just get sucked underneath the ball a bit too much. So, yeah, if they can iron out that, I think, the sky's the limit for the Bombers this season in 2024. Next game we're doing is Western Bulldogs versus Suns, round 2 roundup. Let's get into it. What I liked about it was Oscar Baker's dash off half-back. This is a guy that was substituted on I think it was in the third term, or could have been actually earlier. But he made a real impact on this game. The next one's Cody Waitman, 6 goals. I mean, he's, as a small forward, he's really up there with Papley, isn't he? So far this season in AFL season 2024. The next one is the Western Bulldogs player, Sam Darcy. He's basically their newest second tall option. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he kicked 2 goals and he's definitely replacing Rory Lobb, again, who finds himself maybe hunting for a 4th club, which is just, I think, unheard of. I don't think another player that's actually played with 4 clubs. I mean, please comment below if you know a AFL player. What I didn't like about this game was Suns' ball movement was really stagnant, and the Bulldogs mids really got on top of them quite early in terms of pressure, and they were just more hungry for the ball, all around the ground, essentially. And Gold Coast looked exposed without Jared Witts, their clearance king. And Rao wasn't used to it. They got walked out of the centre all the time, the Suns, by the Bulldogs. So that was another thing I didn't quite like. But yeah, comprehensive win for Western Bulldogs, and in particular, Luke Beveridge. His job is safe for now. We'll see what happens this week against the Eagles at Marvel. Tigers versus Port, round 2 game, rounding it up. What I liked about it was Butter's dash off half-back and carry through the middle as well. Liam Baker kicked 3 goals and was really pivotal in the third quarter, trying to reel the Port Power back. And the next one was Shai Bolton from the Tigers, kicking 2 goals as well, was pretty instrumental and definitely up there with being one of their best players for sure. And then Port Power, big forward Todd Marshall, kicking 4 goals and one behind, was really instrumental up forward and was a real good target for those mids to hit up. What I didn't like from the game was Willie Rioli went missing. I think he only had 7 disposals, which was very uncharacteristic of him. The next one's Tom Lynch from Tigers. Another thing I didn't like was he was all talk, no action. He kicked a goal and one behind. And the next one from Port Power is Charlie Dixon. His kicking woes sort of continue. He kicked 2 goals, 3 behinds in this game. He presented up forward, was pretty competitive in and amongst the contest. But yeah, Todd Marshall definitely takes the cakes from that contest up forward. The other one would be Darcy Byrne-Jones and Ryan Mansell, definitely get honourable mentions. They played really well, kicked goals. I think Darcy Byrne-Jones kicked 3 goals and Ryan Mansell kicked 2. So very positive signs. And definitely Tigers, not the best of starts this season for them. But from where they're positioned, they're on the right track under Adam Uze. But they've got some big list decisions come the end of this year for sure. Today I'm talking about the West Coast Eagles and the Port game, the AFL round 2. I really liked Harley Reid's dare and run off halfback and through the centre. I thought it was really good. And I think he really took it up to the older boys. Obviously, he's only 18, and that really showed. The next one, I really liked GWS's Kieran Briggs, his dominance in the ruck, but also his big hit in the first quarter, a couple of minutes in on Harley Reid, sent him flying. His ruck dominance was pretty evident, 67-44 advantage forward entries, which was superb. And the next one would be GWS Sam Taylor with his 14 intercept marks. I thought that was outstanding from him. What I didn't like was the Eagles' costly entries going forward. Harry Barnett's being manhandled by Briggsy. He's only 19. And Darling must come out for Marek. We need more run-off half-back and through the middle and just more energy altogether.